Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. I'm your host, Roger Knecht, President of Universal Accounting Center, and it's here that we actually speak of the things that you need to consider to have the premier accounting firm offering quality accounting services and getting paid what you're worth. It's each and every week that we have on the show experts to address things ranging from marketing, selling, pricing, tech stacks, training your staff, onboarding clients, retaining your clients, mental health, and so much more. It's these conversations that I thoroughly enjoy. Why? Because it helps us work on our business and ultimately take care of our clients and ourselves. It's here that we actually get the insights that we need for our companies. Now, with that being said, my guest this week happens to be Peter McCarroll. He is someone that I'm excited to speak with, someone that I'm very pleased to have on the show because he's a chartered accountant and CPA from Canada and the founder of the AI Accountant, the only AI training and implementation platform built exclusively for CAS practices. He runs a full-service accounting practice at Fuel Accountants, where he has spent the last 2 years deploying AI across real client workflows. Peter helps accounting firms move from experimentation to operational transformation, not only with theory, but with the systems built inside a workplace. And Peter does this to basically help firms be successful. So Peter, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
This is going to be a lot of fun because one of the things that I think is very topical is obviously not just AI, but the integration of it within the accounting firm. And I think that's where we're going to really dive deep. In fact, one of the things that I know that you're quite passionate about is more than just the topic about AI, but what it is that it's going to then cause as it relates to the accounting profession, as it relates to pricing and staffing and our own career ladders as to where do we go from here as professionals. So I want to start right there. Let's just begin with the big kind of elephant in the room. How's this going to impact the accounting profession, in your opinion, as it relates to staffing opportunities? Do you hire more or do you lean more into the efficiency of AI? Pricing? Is it going to commoditize our services? Career ladder? Where do we go as professionals with the skills that we have? Is this replacing us? Where do you want to begin?
Yeah, well, it's yes to all of that. The first thing I always tell people is AI is going to change the way we do our work. It's going to change the way we run our firm. It's going to change the way we engage with our clients. That's unquestionable. The only issue is how. So this is the way I position it right now. I was at Engage, AICPA Engage a few weeks ago, and they were talking about their Vision 2040. You need long-range satellite telescopes to get to 2040 at this point. Who knows what the world will look like in 2040? That's the wrong vision. They talked about the firm of 2030. And I'm like, okay, that's getting a little closer, but I even think that's too late. I think here in North America, we have 1, maybe 2 busy seasons left for any CAS or tax practice before you will be unrecognizable. 2 busy seasons at most. I'd love to be lucky here. I'd love to say, oh, look, it's actually 3. That would be wonderful. I don't think it is. I think by 2028, if we haven't changed our practices, we will be closing our practices. I don't like to be alarmist, but the key here is we've got to stay up with technology. Okay. And I always talk about AI as being, it's the thing that could close your business, but it's the thing that could save your business. It's not one way or the other, it's both. So by embracing it and say, hey, let's work out what we are going to look like in 2028 or 2029. Let's not wait till 2030. You'll be one of those firms that actually thrives. The firms that wait till 2028 will not.
Yeah, I really appreciate the timeline that you're putting out there because I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things that I think is quite interesting is if you look at how things have been adopted in the past, you could see, people acquiring radios or televisions. You'd have a decade of the integration of these into the household. You'd look at the adoption of, let's say, online accounting and the decade that we spoke of going on the cloud or in the accounting profession, what it was that we were going to be using these various apps to integrate into the GL. All that took time. It took years. Well, the integration of AI and how it's actually impacting the accounting profession is, as you said, at best 2 or 3 seasons away. And I would dare say that here in 2026, the people who are your clients today, they'll most likely be your clients in 2026 at the year end. But next year, I can't be that confident. Something's going to change next year that's going to be hugely impactful. And as it relates to the tax profession, I think through this extension season of the third quarter of 2026, I think a lot of things are going to be tested and tried and things are going to be proven so that when it comes time for the next tax season in 2027, you're going to see new tools, new technologies, but more importantly, more marketing directly to the customer, the consumer, as it relates to tax services, more marketing to the tax firms as to what it is they should be doing as to how they do the work, as well as bookkeeping services, how bookkeeping is supposed to be done. So let's dive into what do you think is changing that's going to cause this disruption? You've been using AI, implementing workflows. Where are you seeing that the big wins exist for bookkeeping accounting professionals, tax accounting professionals? What is it that's changing that we're perhaps not realizing?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is that not a lot has changed substantively yet, but it's changing as we speak. Okay. So we're in this transitional period right now where we all know what it's going to be capable of. Most of us haven't done much with it, but our tooling is being rebuilt around us. Okay, so it's an ongoing issue as opposed to a settled issue. So that's why we've got a little bit of time, just not a lot of time. I like to use the analogy of you're driving a car, okay, and for years accountants have been the rearview mirror. Okay, we're reporting on last year's financial activity. We're doing tax returns based on last year's results. If we're really good, we're giving you a monthly report, hopefully before the end of the following month. But it's always looking backwards. It's the rearview mirror. You can't drive very far or very fast looking in the rearview mirror. What's happening around us, literally as we speak, is accounting is moving to the dashboard. Okay, how fast are we going? How full is the fuel tank? How many RPMs are we doing? Bookkeeping is becoming real time. Okay, we're seeing QuickBooks and Xero badly trying to implement AI right now to automate bookkeeping. They're not doing a good job. We're seeing new startups like Digits and Kick and Puzzle doing a lot better job of building an AI native accounting platform that does the work before we get to it. Okay, so this is when I talk about the dashboard, these are the kinds of things that we are seeing around us. This is not stuff that'll be here next year. It is here. It might not be perfect yet. It gets better every day. Okay, so we're seeing this transition. I believe by the end of this year, so it's 6 months away, if you're running a bookkeeping practice and you're not ready for 0-day close, you're in trouble. And if
I'm loving the
QuickBooks, because QuickBooks can't do it yet, which is quite possible, then that might be the reality, because these upstarts are coming in fast and furious, and it's going to change what customers expect.
I love the terminology that you're using here, because I think it's exactly what we need to be hearing. One, I do believe that the role of the accounting professional is moving away from what I've recently been referring to as hindsight. It's becoming insight. It's what's happening right now. And that dashboard analogy is exactly right. What's happening in real time. But to take it a step further, you talked about the month-end close. Well, the month-end close isn't that. It's going to become a weekend close. It's going to become a day-end close. Yep. It's going to become
adjustments.
Yes. And so what we're dealing with is the ability to now provide more timely and accurate information to our clients. And the emphasis is on more timely. The reality of the fact is they're going to have information in their hands real time so that they can be making more impactful decisions in their business intelligently, because they have access to the numbers that we're providing, because the numbers are no longer this hindsight perspective. It's real-time data.
This is what takes us to phase 3. So the rearview mirror is phase 1. We've been there for hundreds of years.
Yes.
We're going to have a 1-year transition through phase 2. Okay, because it's happening around us right now.
Correct.
And phase 3 is the windscreen with the heads-up GPS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the business owner drives their car forward, not backwards. They don't drive the car looking at the speedometer. They're looking at the map and they're looking at the road ahead of them. That's where, as accountants, we need to be. We need to be that advisor that is sitting beside our clients, helping them understand where the road is going, what the direction is, what is our destination, where that cop likes to hide just around the corner you can't see from here, okay, what the traffic's going to be like, where the potholes are, okay. That's where we should be positioned, not as the guy, not the pit crew that you see once a year, not as the person that tells you what you've just done and where you've just been, but the person that helps you get to where you want to be.
What I'm going to do to add to your analogy, because I think your analogy is spot on. I think it's wonderful to illustrate, is I'm going to now make it akin to a rally car racer. I don't know if you're familiar with rally cars, but they're racing along in these very souped up vehicles on either dirt roads or in back roads. And the point is next to the driver is a navigator. And the navigator is basically barking out over the rev of the engine what they expect in the turns ahead. And they're giving just basically sequences of 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, left, right. And they're yelling this out because the driver is in sequence with them, and they're able to project or predict whether or not they need to downshift, whether or not they need to brake, whether or not they need to be ready for a hard left or right turn. Because as they're running that car, managing that business, they're looking out the dashboard so quickly because of how fast they're going. They don't have time to necessarily look at the dashboard. They can only glance at it for a moment. So what's real time to them isn't what's really important to them. Just like you're driving a car, you don't look at what's in front of your bumper. You're looking 100 yards ahead, because in a split second, what's 100 yards ahead is now in front of you. And so you have to be able to adapt. And that's what I think is happening in the economy today, is it's that kind of change. And the more we can actually, as accounting professionals, step into that role to give more timely, accurate information, we're empowering those business owners to stay in business and thus remain clients of ours. So this is perfect. So give us an actual let's say application of where you see in our businesses the use of AI. You've been utilizing it now for a few years. What have you been using that you find to be very helpful and resourceful that we should be considering and perhaps embracing?
Yeah. Well, the what I call the low hanging fruit for a CAS practice and accounting practice is data transformation.
Okay.
So you've got lots of clients who've got systems that don't integrate with QuickBooks or with Xero. You've got data sources that need manipulation. Maybe you've got a complex payroll, and sure, the payroll system plugs into your accounting platform, but you end up spending 3 hours fixing the journal. So you disconnect it because it's just not worth the effort. This is the sort of stuff that AI just does so well. And we're at the point now with the right technology where you can actually build in your own Claude or ChatGPT systems. You can build that connection straight into the accounting platform so that when you get that data, say from ADP, that very complicated payroll reports, and you've told Claude how to prepare the journal or the bill that you want to push through to QuickBooks, not only can it do that work for you in a few seconds, it can now actually push the data straight into QuickBooks, eliminating one more step.
Love it. So,
but that's the low-hanging fruit.
Correct. And that's where I want to start, because I think for many of my listeners, they're looking at, okay, why now? And I think you're easily addressing the fact that this isn't something to be threatened or feared by. So all of a sudden, what we're now realizing is it's a tool that we should embrace and incorporate because it's going to help us. And I think you're creating the urgency for which I think my listeners are realizing, if they haven't already, they do need to actually embrace it now. It's perhaps too late. They should have done it already, but nonetheless, now's the right time. Let's go ahead and take it. The low-hanging fruit is where you want to start. It's the easy, it's the obvious. But now what we want to do is fill those gaps, as you're indicated, because accounting firms usually deploy AI in core platforms, and they build their own AI, and they kind of look at external tools as maybe something they don't need to worry about. But truly, the external tools, these third-party applications that are already incorporating AI that we're using, we should actually embrace and start leveraging to our benefit. So what's the real opportunity gap as it relates to these platforms, and how can we maybe move beyond the low-hanging fruit as you've described it?
Yeah. So here's one of the challenges with the tools. I've never seen a demo that wasn't fantastic.
Okay.
But if you don't know what problem you're trying to solve, no tool will solve it. Okay. So the vendors are out there trying to push their tools on us, new practice management systems, new month-end close systems. And all of them solve a piece of the puzzle. And some of them solve it really, really well. I'm really impressed with the new cadre of tools that are coming out. But if you don't know what problem you're trying to solve, no Band-Aid will heal that wound. You're not going to regrow your arm by putting pickle juice on the wound. Okay, so first step is we've got to understand, where are we going? This is why I talk about practice transformation, not AI tool selection or training. We do that. We do training. But the most important thing a practice can do is actually say, where do I want to be in 2028? What will my firm look like in 2028? And what are the problems that I need to solve now? Most of the tools that you'll go out and buy are designed to get you efficiency. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to have lots of pricing pressure. We are going to want to be efficient, but that's not where we're going to transform our practice. And if you take an AI-based workflow and slap it on a 2015 manual process, you're going to get maybe 10% efficiency. If you say, hey, let's revision our workflows in this AI space, maybe you can get 20 to 30% efficiency. But efficiency has a cap. It's only so much you can shave off the process. What we really want to be thinking about is that positioning factor. Where are we going to be as a firm? And what are we going to be offering as a firm? And then using AI, the second and third level of AI use, the first is efficiency, the second is strategic thinking. That AI help you think about where you want to be. The third level is revenue growth. What new services can AI help me imagine, create, and deploy that I wouldn't have thought about pre-AI? And this is the area, as accountants, we are not good at this. Not at all, because we don't think of ourselves as creative. And we're so stuck in this idea of we are the dashboard, or we are the rearview mirror, not the windscreen. Okay, but if a firm, any business, but an accounting firm in particular, can get to that mode of saying, what new things do I create? All the research says that those businesses in general that focus on revenue growth with AI will succeed. Those that focus merely on efficiency will have stunted ROI. Because the cost of AI are going up, and it's only going to have a limited impact.
Well, the thing that I'd like to emphasize is your 3 stages there. I think those were very helpful to illustrate the phases in which you're going to go through the integration of AI into the firm. First is efficiency. I think that's very appropriate. What is it that you're already doing, you're already familiar with, you're an expert at, you're clearly doing it repetitively? What can we do to become more efficient utilizing AI in that capacity? And I think people will be pleasantly surprised as to how AI can actually improve the workflows and the efficiencies as you described it. That second phase, and forgive me because these are your words, I think you refer to it as strategic implementation.
Strategic
Thinking. Yeah. And the strategic thinking is, I think then, and these are my words, it's leveraging that expertise that exists in the AI and thinking of it as being the smartest person in the room, seeing what is it that it's aware of that you're not perhaps noticing and realizing, and then with your wisdom and experience, seeing how you can incorporate it within the firm. And I believe that level is now tapping into the unknown, because now you're beyond the efficiency. Now you're actually starting to think outside of the box. And it's, how do you market and get more clients? How do you better service your clients? How do you work more efficiently than what you've already implemented? That strategic stage is going to be, I think, a huge step forward. And that's something that is exciting to me, because that's, I think, now the evolution of the accounting business model that we're going to see in the next maybe 12 to 24 months. Now you get beyond that and you go to your third phase. And your third phase is really where that profitability is going to come into. I think it's the new evolution of accounting, and it's where we're going to be looking out that windshield, and more importantly, focusing on the client. How am I doing so far?
Yes, spot on. Absolutely. Yep.
Learn the turnkey process for starting and building a successful accounting business. It's in this course that you'll actually experience 4 specific trainings. Part 1, your business plan, everything you need to know to get started. Part 2, how to price your services, the pros and cons of different methods, and the best way to price your services that are both profitable and professional. Marketing and selling your services so that you can actually be top of mind, but more importantly, how to actually be seen as a trusted strategic advisor. And last of all, mapping it all out. 5 principles in running a profitable business so that you can be both competent and confident in the services you're providing. Learn now what it is you can be doing to start and build your own successful accounting, bookkeeping, or tax business. Go to the episode description and there get the information you need to take advantage of this today.
All right. So with AI, you're obviously looking at enabling it in the practice. Give me a real world example. Monday morning comes around, you come into the office. What are you seeing as you use AI that's just kind of your practical go-to, here's where I begin?
Yeah. So AI is really good at, if you give it access to your email and your calendar and things like that, to be able to say, hey, this is what you've got coming up today. Here's a briefing. You've got 3 client meetings. I looked at the transcript from your last call with the client. Here were the unanswered questions. I don't see answers in your email to these questions. So these are what you need to prepare for. Maybe it's looking at yesterday's meetings. Again, you should be recording everything and be able to look at yesterday's meetings and say, hey, out of yesterday's meetings, here are the 3 action items that came out of the first meeting, the second meeting, and I forwarded these on to your bookkeeping team. So AI, even just using Claude with a few scheduled tasks, can start to automate some of those tasks for you. I use Fathom as my recording engine. I wouldn't say it's the best. It's not geared to accountants, but you've got an MCP there. You can connect that into your Claude or your Chat GPT. You can connect in your email and your calendar, and immediately you've now got a deeper level of insight than you would have had if everything had to be in your brain.
Oh,
I don't know about you, but my brain's getting a little thinner than it used to. And with all the work that I'm doing, it's just so easy to just drop the plot on remembering what you've promised or remembering what we spoke about last time. And every time I have a meeting now, I go straight to my summary and I go, right, last time we spoke about this. I've checked with my team to see if anything's moved on the other issues, and I'm ready to engage with that client.
Beautifully said. I love that. So I want to now take this to the CAS level. CAS is an acronym. Some people say it's Client Advisory Services. Some refer to it as Client Accounting Services. Some use the AA and say it's Client Accounting and Advisory Services. Whichever you prefer. What we're talking about here, because of this forward thinking, this foresight as it relates to the accounting services that we're going to be moving towards, we're going to be spending obviously less and less time in the hindsight. We're going to have that real world insight as it relates to the current dashboard scenario. So where do you see AI affording us to spend our time in this CAS advisory role? And more importantly, where do you feel we can leverage AI in that capacity?
Well, I think AI has huge potential to help us in client advisory. One of the things as accountants is that we don't like stepping beyond our comfort zone or into areas that we don't consider ourselves to be expert in. Many of us will not give clients business growth advice or marketing advice. Okay, we like to stick to the things that we know best: the tax, the bookkeeping, the accounting. With AI, you no longer need to be an expert in anything to be able to help a client take their next step. And that's what I see this as. We want to help our clients take the next step. The next step might be we need to go and find a specialist. Okay, totally okay to say that. But most of us as accountants, we've seen so much. We've seen clients of all sorts of shapes and sizes, and we've seen every problem under the sun. We know a lot more than we think we know. And because what AI has done is it's commoditized knowledge. There's no such thing as a knowledge deficiency anymore. You can go to AI and you can get a 10-minute briefing on any topic in the world. Maybe not with Fable right now, but on almost any topic in the world that is of such a higher level than you would ever have been able to get 2 years ago. And you can prepare yourself or your client for any issue that they are about to face. And from there, you'll know whether or not I can help you take that next step or whether we need to go and get a specialist. I'll give you a great example of this.
Please.
So earlier this year, I was working with a client. He bought a locksmith business. He's not a locksmith. He's running this new business, but revenue was starting to drop. And we were a little worried. We noticed that efficiency was off and revenue was dropping. And so I asked him, well, have you ever really sat down and thought about your ideal client profile? And he goes, no, what's that? Okay, well, I'm not a marketing specialist, but I know enough. And I said, ideal client profile is where you create a picture of the sort of customer you want to serve well. A customer that you like to serve and that's profitable to serve. So I then went to my library and I found a few prompts. And this is, again, right before the whole world changed. We didn't even need these prompts anymore. And I found a story brand prompt that helped create an ideal client profile. So we ran it together. And then I emailed him a couple of prompts and I said, you go away and you work on this. He did this on his own with my initial guidance and created 3 ICP profiles. From each of those profiles, he created a security audit that could be done by any of his traveling team that they could walk into any existing client in that profile and be able to do a security audit that they could then upsell more services to. Okay. The next month, he trained his staff. He created an implementation plan, all using AI to help him walk through this process, and his revenue jumped 20%. And
I love that exercise.
Simply working with the clients he already had. There was zero marketing spend, no advertising. And he said, now that I've got this ideal client profile for 3 separate customers, now I can create a marketing plan and I can go and reach out to more people like this.
So that practical application of what you just shared obviously had an end monetary gain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge to illustrate, because I love the process. As an entrepreneur, that's exciting to kind of go through that exercise of trying to identify who that ideal client is and getting that persona, but then to leverage AI to actually help us then go to the extent of marketing and getting more of that same ideal client and creating a messaging that resonates with that particular client type. That's huge.
Yep.
But to then see through your example, the realization of that monetarily, that's a big win. So what I'd like to do is kind of emphasize that the AI is now this wonderful collaborator, somebody that you can interact with. And I always refer to it now as being the smartest person in the room. But what I bring to the table is the wisdom, the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to kind of assess the real world application. It's not existed in the real world like I have. It doesn't have that human interaction and experience like I do. And so those soft skills may not exist fully within it, but it is smart. And so I definitely still bring to the equation something that's very, very important, but I want to tap into this expertise that exists with the AI. So great illustration. Let me go to something that I want to share, and I want to get your input on this, because I think for the listeners, this is going to be very helpful. For the person who hasn't really seen where it is that they should start and implement AI, use AI, I always begin with, what platform are you currently using, such as your general ledger, such as maybe your practice management software that has now rolled out an AI integration? Have you tapped into that?
Mm-hmm.
And I start with them basically saying, now go in, learn, use it, play with it, don't be afraid of it, and see what it can do to help you within your business and with your clients. After they've done that a little bit, I think their confidence becomes a little bit more so that they're comfortable interacting with this AI. It's kind of like going on a first date. You just don't know how to read the person in the room just yet. Who is this? Well, after that interaction with this third-party AI that's been built for you as the accounting professional, you're going to become a little bit more comfortable with it. You know how to ask questions. You become a little bit more acquainted with what it says back to you and how it likes to communicate. Now you're in a situation where you're able to fully utilize this platform that you're already paying for and using, but now with the integration of AI, you're taking it to a whole nother level. That's step one. Would you add anything more to that right there as to our, as accounting professionals, using what we're already familiar with?
Yeah, well, definitely it's the right place to start. And one of the things that we teach is you've got to look at your tech stack and you've got to ask those questions of, what can I do with this platform?
Yes.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, if you're evaluating a new tool and it doesn't have an open API or an MCP, I would give it a wide berth, because it's 2026, not 2016.
Yes.
And I said this to a supplier recently, and they just said, yeah, I know. Salesman was really embarrassed. He's like, yeah, we should have it, but we don't. It's coming, but he didn't know when. And I'm like, It's too late to be coming.
Yes.
These things aren't hard to create. If you've been preparing the whole way, if you've just been milking a 2015 product, it's too late. You haven't invested in staying current. So that's an issue. But start with, what can I integrate with? Most of our practice management systems now have an MCP. MCP, for those that don't know, is Model Context Protocol. It's a way of taking those API connections, those computer-to-computer connections, allowing them to work more seamlessly through an LLM model like Claude or ChatGPT.
Yes.
You don't need to know much about them other than we just got to get them connected and authorized. And that sometimes can be a little tricky, but once you've got them connected, now you can talk directly to that platform and get information from it. I was experimenting with a new tool that connected to Xero ledgers and was multi-tenanted, allowed me to access multiple connections. And this is the problem right now with the connectors that you can get in, say, Claude to QuickBooks or to Xero, is that they are actually intended for the end user the business owner, not for the accountant. And they're what we call single tenanted, one connection. And it's very hard or impossible to use. You can't use those connections that they sort of have made all the fanfare about, all these new AI connections. As an accountant, you can't use them because you can't switch between clients very easily.
Yes.
Okay? So I was looking at a tool that allowed us to do that. And I connected it up to a client's ledger. And I just said to Claude, can you see this ledger? Yes, I can see this ledger. Great. And I just gave it just a one-shot prompt. And I said, create me a dashboard of information that this business owner would be interested in seeing. And it was a really basic, just empty prompt.
Yes.
It created this dashboard with graphs, with numbers, and with highlights of the 3 action items that the client needed to take out of that one really poorly worded 1-sentence prompt, all because it could connect to that client's ledger.
Well, what you just described is that second thing I was going to point out. Once you've got that familiarity with that third-party platform that you're already using, it's now the integration of it with other platforms so that it can collaborate and do exactly like you just explained. It's now able to go across these multiple platforms and leverage all of that information in the client's benefit. And I think that's something that you just easily demonstrated there, because it's what the dashboard was now customized to that client, simply because it was able to actually look at the GL. And that was a perfect example. So that takes us to that second level. We've now integrated all these different platforms, our email, our calendars, the GL, all those types of things, the meeting notes, all that's now done. It's now fully aware of what's going on with regards to that client. What's the third level? Where do we go from here? We're now using the platforms we're familiar with. We've integrated them all so that they're all communicating as best they can. What's that third level?
I would say the third level is probably now looking for insights that you can help the client advise with. You'll always be looking at ways to be more efficient. That I'll take that for granted. But that is every layer of efficiency gets harder and harder and more expensive and more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But now take that data that you've now got access to this information and say, how do I actually help my client, not just help me?
Mm.
Most of the efficiency gains are an attempt to help us. We want to be more efficient. We're worried about price pressure. We want to be able to do more with less. They're good things. I'm not saying that they aren't, that we shouldn't do that. But at the end of the day, our job has to move to helping our clients grow a better business rather than helping our clients file a tax return. I always tell people I don't get out of bed to file a tax return. I do it because if we don't do it, you get in big trouble. You don't want that. Okay. But that's not why I exist. I exist because I want you to have a better business.
Well, the thing that I liked about what you just shared is this third phase is it's less about us, it's more about the client.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important because, there's a lot of things that we're doing from an efficiency standpoint. It's helping us do more and do more quickly. It's all, I think, looking at what we're doing, but eventually we've got to turn the spotlight on our clients and ultimately see how can we actually help leverage them and provide greater value to the relationship that they have with us and what they're paying for. So I think that's a third great step.
Get your free copy of the book In the Black, 9 Principles to Make Your Business Profitable. This is a how-to guide for accounting professionals to work with their clients and actually implement proven processes and systems to ensure that their clients make profit a priority. It is in this book you'll actually learn how to map the business and, in fact, make marketing, accounting, and production a priority within your client's business. You also learn the wisdom pyramid, how to actually take the information you're providing to your clients and effectively use it so that they can make more informed business decisions. This book is designed to help you communicate more effectively with your clients and, in fact, have them see you as their profit and growth expert. Get your free copy now of the ebook today, In the Black, 9 Principles to Make Your Business Profitable.
So I'm going to now take this and transition to another question. Our staff, our employees, the other accounting professionals, lots of them are fearful of where this is going to impact them with their employment, with their tasks, the roles that they have. And for them, many of them may be thinking that this AI and these processes are going to replace them. How do you, with your training and with your conversations, address for the firm owner their ability to actually excite their employees and get their staff embracing AI as this additional tool and resource for them to do their jobs more efficiently and better.
Yeah. So there's always a problem. There's always going to be people in your firm that are worried. And here's the reality is we don't actually know what's going to happen. Okay. So all I can tell you is how I've dealt with it in my firm and what I tell to people when I train them on how to manage this process for themselves. First thing we said to our firm is AI is coming. We're going to be leaders, not followers. Okay. Second thing we said is our plan is to bring you all with us, but some of you might not make it. What determines who makes it is more about who can make the transition as their job changes, not whether or not we want to keep anyone around. My goal in becoming AI fluent and building AI into the center of our practice, not the edge of our practice, is so that I can do more with the team I have, not do the same with less people on my team. Now, there are going to be some firms that is their outcome. And unfortunately, they will let people go. But this is why I'm not worried about it. We have such a talent crisis in the industry right now. And I think the work is only going to grow, not shrink.
Yes,
AI is going to reduce some of our. I think it's going to be our smaller clients, okay, who can't justify paying $1,000 for a tax return, and that's totally okay. We probably shouldn't be serving those clients anyway. Now, the problem is if your firm is made up of hundreds of those clients, you've got a major problem on your hands. Because last tax season, Perplexity was advertising that they could prepare a 1040.
Yep.
$20 a month subscription will help you with your 1040. If that's your business, if that's your market, you should be worried. But for most of us, that's a fraction of our market. And we might lose that fraction. And that's going to free up a lot of time that we can now deploy to actually helping our clients run a better business rather than helping them file a low-value tax return. And because of the talent shortage, AI is going to free up a lot of time for our team. The only question we have is whether we can take those team members up to the next level. And that's two main factors. Can I, as the leader, help them get there? And are they willing to put in the effort to get there? Those are the two questions we have to deal with. It's not about the technology. It's a leadership question.
I love this. I'm going to add a few things to it simply because I feel that what you're saying is a great example of how people can get excited about the accounting profession still. But here's the clarification I would add. I think as it relates to accounting, AI is this phenomenal tool. And as a tool, it's not going to be front facing, client facing as it interacts with our clients. It's going to be back end. It's going to be doing the work and helping us be more efficient. But at the end of the day, we have to remain that human in the loop, checking and evaluating the information before we ultimately turn it over to our clients. And we're the ones still interacting with our clients. And so we're still relevant is my point. Yeah. The second thing is I do believe there's going to become a new role or position within the accounting profession that I'm going to choose to refer to it as the accountant agent manager.
Yep.
This is going to be basically that employee you have that's doing the bookkeeping, that person that's doing the tax preparation. They're going to now utilize AI, but the AI doesn't file the tax return. Somebody still has to review the return and sign off on it before it's actually submitted. So for it to be filed, it's great that it did it, but there's still that human in the loop. And we have to now, as accounting agent managers, manage these AI just as if they're employees. And so these staff members that we have on staff that know our processes, that know our clients, we need to give them the skills and abilities to become agent managers so that they can oversee these processes, whether it's the bookkeeping, whether it's the tax. What's happening is this is an opportunity for them to go and more or less get a promotion. They're now no longer just that bookkeeper that's recording transactions, that's that tax preparer that's preparing the tax returns. They are now tax return reviewers. Yeah. They are now bookkeepers that are actually managing bookkeeping agents, and they're now reviewing the financials before they're turned over to the clients. This is an opportunity for them to all level up in their skills, become more important and valuable within the organization, oversee more of the work that's being done, if they choose
Yeah.
to embrace the technology and become accounting agent managers.
Yeah. And, you and I have both got Profit First professional connections. We've
Yes.
been talking with PFP about, becoming more like a CFO role. And so
Yes.
one of the language that we use in our firm is that we need to climb the CFO ladder. Every staff member needs to climb the CFO ladder. We've got to move from being a bookkeeper to being a systems manager. We've got to move from being a tax preparer or to a tax planner. We've got to move from being an accountant to being an advisor. How do we go up that ladder, and how do we bring as many people on our team with us as we can to scale that ladder? Because I think the future of our firm depends on it. And I think our clients need us to do this. If we don't bring our team with us, you'll be one of those firms that is slowly shrinking. Maybe not slowly. You'll be with a firm that's shrinking.
Yep. Well, I'm glad that you brought up Profit First, because I'm a very big proponent of that. I love the idea of eradicating entrepreneurial poverty.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is simply this: as it relates to Profit First, that is just one great example of how once you move out of the bookkeeping and from the accounting into the CFO and advisory role, and you're taking more of that windshield, I'm looking through the windshield with the business owner, I'm helping them navigate the business. What does that involve? Well, it's these additional advisory type skills that you need. And Profit First Professional brings in that idea of now no longer looking at the accounting equation as revenue minus expenses equal profits, but rather revenue minus profits equals what we have now to afford and pay for those expenses, the operating expenses of the business. That right there is, I think, such an advisory type positioning of the firm that's now possible simply because of the fact that we're now elevating the services that we're offering. So I appreciate you bringing that up. So time has quickly passed. Peter, here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to go through a few things here, but I want to first emphasize an offer that you have. After that, I'm going to do a summary and then come back to you for a closing thought. But as for an offer, I've got something here that I'd love my listeners to take advantage of. As you heard at the very beginning, Peter works with individuals in the implementation of AI within the firms, and he has an AI practice transformation program. It's basically a 3-week cohort that helps CAS firms redesign workflows, engineer their AI content, and build real advisory models. This right here is something that you can take advantage of and save $500 on this opportunity to be part of the next cohort. So I want you to go to the episode description and take advantage of this opportunity. It's at the aiaccountant.ai/transformation that you'll find more information about this. But real quickly, Peter, what would you say about this cohort?
This program is not an AI instruction program. I'm not going to teach you how to use AI. I can do that. That's not what this is about. This is about leadership, positioning your firm of 2028. Who are we going to be? What's going to change? And where do we need to position this firm to be there, to be at that time frame? And then how do we build the roadmap to get there? So we talk a lot about AI, but most of it is about what are we going to do in our firm ecosystem to actually make that viable rather than just buy a new tool. I don't sell tools, I sell thought. And I help you make the hard work of thinking about where you want to be so that you can get there rather than just buy a tool.
Peter, I love it. So for more information about this, go to the episode description. You'll actually find the information you need there to take advantage of this opportunity today. In addition to that, I want to invite you to the Accountrepreneurs Challenge. The Accountrepreneurs Challenge is a challenge that we're actually putting on for owners of firms to actually help you work on both yourself personally and your business professionally so that you can build the premier accounting firm in your area. This is a 90-day challenge. It consists of weekly emails that give you various challenges that may simply range from a 5, 10, 15-minute exercise one week to the next week, possibly a book to read that may take an hour or so to read, and then a course the following week. But whether it's a simple 5-minute challenge or an hour-long exercise for you to consider for a week, this is designed over the next 90 days to help you build the premier accounting firm in your area. I invite you to sign up now. You can go to universalaccounting.com/podcast for the form. It's a very simple form. It's your name and email. And with that, you're all set. I encourage you to take advantage of this. Why? Because this will enable you to focus on those things that matter most so that you can, in fact, offer quality accounting services and, in fact, have the premier accounting firm in your area. Take advantage of this opportunity and sign up today. In addition, I want to invite you to GrowCon. GrowCon is an annual conference. It's a conference for owners of bookkeeping, accounting, and tax businesses. It's here where we get to gather as peers, see what everyone is doing, help one another. We can collaborate, build friendships, but also hear from the experts. It's here that we hear topics ranging from marketing and sales so that we can get our ideal clients and basically grow the firms as we would intend to. It's here where we focus on the services that we should be providing so that we can not only onboard our clients effectively, retain our clients, increase the lifetime value of the clients, but offer that value that they're needing to run their business effectively. The third is that of production. How do we do this efficiently? How do we do this profitably? And we talk about from the stage various things that we can be doing, in fact, to have the premier accounting firm in your area. So I invite you to register now and get your tickets and join us for GrowCon. You can go to universalaccounting.com and there in the navigation, find the information regarding the event. And I look forward to seeing you there. In addition to all of this, I want to just kind of recap a little bit of the conversation today. Peter, his perspective is astounding. Obviously, he's integrated AI in his business now for the last number of years, and in doing so has that familiarity of what really needs to take place. And I've appreciated a variety of things. One, the analogy of driving the vehicle, that our role is no longer providing the rearview mirror for these owners to see in the hindsight what's happened in the business. It's moving from month-end close to week close to day zero close, that day end close that's insightful information, real-time information that's like a dashboard in the vehicle so that we can actually have the business owners running their companies intelligently. But it's going beyond that still. It's now giving them the ability and confidence to look up and look out that windshield so that they can run their business at an accelerated rate with confidence. And it's through that role as a navigator in the vehicle where we can be providing real-time information to help them adapt to those real-world situations that they're experiencing, giving them information, real and accurate information, so that they can timely make informed business decisions. I think that's hugely important. He also spoke of leveraging AI so that we can actually go through these various phases of, first of all, hitting those low-hanging fruit operations and efficiency items. Those things are where we're actually able to really make a dent in the organization, taking what we're familiar with and doing already efficiently and improving those. It was taking it to that next level where we can now do that strategic thinking. I think that's powerful. All of a sudden, now we're thinking outside of the box and what we're not familiar with, and we're taking our roles and our services to that whole new level. But then it's then going to that last level of profitability, really looking at what we can do to really run our businesses differently and profitably to best service our clients. Great analogy there as to those different levels and how to migrate through those. I love the conversation about the employees and how to actually help them realize that their roles are changing, that here in the next, say, 12 to 24 months, Peter pointed out in the next 2 to 3 seasons of accounting here in the coming future, our roles will change. Our interactions with our customers will be different. Our workflows will be different with the different platforms we're using. All great discussions. We also spoke of first beginning this whole process with AI by using the integrations of AI and the platforms we're already familiar with. And then second, taking that and actually having all of the AI integrate with our different things such as the calendars and the emails and the different things that we're utilizing to run our business so that it has access to even more information. All of those parts of the conversation I thought were exactly what we need to hear today to embrace AI and not be intimidated by it, but rather run with it towards this new future in the accounting profession. So, Peter, what more would you like to add and leave as a closing thought?
Well, I'll reiterate something you just said, something I said right at the beginning. We've got 1, maybe 2 busy seasons left. If you wait till 2028 to start this process, you will not come out of it very well. But if you start now, it doesn't matter if you've done nothing so far, but start now, because this is where you're going to set the foundation to be successful in 2028. And I'd love to be able to say I was wrong, that it's 2030. That would make me very happy, but I don't think I am. So better to start now and be ready than to delay it and say, oh, I wish I started earlier. I wish I started earlier, and I'm already halfway into the journey.
There you go. Well, one of the things I will say is we are living a good life. Accounting is a wonderful profession. This is something that I'm grateful I'm involved in as a career. It's just recognizing it still can be better. I don't know that anyone here wants to go back to the abacus and wants to put on the green visor again. We're all excited with where we are with cloud accounting. We love what we do today with the remote flexibilities that we have to work anywhere. That's wonderful. Now let's just take it one more notch forward and actually see what more we can do as an accounting profession and better service our clients. So this is great. So Peter, this has been a phenomenal discussion. Thank you for it. For my listeners, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast. Love to have you join us each and every week as we have the experts on the show to share their insights as to what it is we can be doing to build the premier accounting firm. In addition to that, I'd like to encourage you to go to universalaccounting.com, and in the navigation of the site, find the podcast section where you can actually find highlights. These are playlists that we've put together of basically all of the past episodes on a topical level. So based on your current situation, whether you're wanting to market and grow your services, have questions or interest in pricing, maybe you want to talk about onboarding, maybe it's client retention, staff training, tech stacks, go look at those playlists that we've compiled of what the experts have to say and binge listen those. I encourage you to go in and find out what it is that you need today to build the premier accounting firm. Go to universalaccounting.com, and in the highlight or in the podcast section, look at the highlights. In addition to that, I want to invite you to check out Universal Accounting School. This is basically where the programs exist to give you the skills, the training, certifications, the coaching and support you need to build the premier accounting firm, whether it's training you as to how to basically leverage the best practices to have the CAS business that you would like. Maybe it's training your staff, giving them the skills that they need. Regardless of what it is, it's here that you can actually offer professional bookkeeping services, professional tax preparer services, and become profit and growth experts for your clients. Check out more at universalaccountingschool.com or give us a phone call at 801-265-3777. And with all that, have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening. And always remember this, if it's about accounting, it is universal. Take care.